You should hear what keeps him up at night.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. You know, to keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro. What's funny, though, is that Stern actually thought that was a compliment. Stern has become such a wussified sycophant, he doesn't realize that telling Kamala that he'd vote for a wall is telling her that he knows she's as dumb as one.
Howard Stern built an empire on shock, rebellion, and a fearless middle finger to authority. But when Greg Gutfeld took aim at the self-proclaimed king of controversy, Stern went dead silent. No fiery comeback. No trademark explosion. Just a silence so sharp it echoed louder than any rant. Gutfeld didn't just question Stern's evolution, he called it out as a full-blown sellout. The rebel, Gutfeld argued, had become the very system he once destroyed. It wasn't just criticism, it was a public dethroning. Because what happens when the uncensored icon gets out-rebelled on his own stage?
But that's how Stern can call snacking with celebs at a fancy restaurant exhausting. Exhausting. Like he finished the overnight shift in a coal mine. Or hearing Kat talk about her pets.
Fair.
But I get it, life is tough, especially when you've been cut off from the world for 2 years in a $20 million beach house. I mean, you have no idea how tiring it is walking all the way from the wine cellar to the tennis court and back.
Some TV moments fade before the credits roll. But others, those rare, explosive collisions, hit pop culture like a meteor. Bright, brutal, and impossible to ignore. The Gutfeld versus Stern showdown was one of those moments. This wasn't filler. It was a cultural supernova. Two media titans from opposite worlds collided under live lights, and only one left standing with his fire intact. For decades, Stern wore the crown as the king of all media. But that night, the crown started to wobble.
But it is incredibly brave to take this stance after you've made $300, $400 million not being woke, right? Loving Donald Trump, exploiting the mentally ill, wearing blackface. Look at the crop of woke comics, whether it's Stern or Jimmy Kimmel, his BFF, Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, Michael Ian Black. What do they all have in common? They wore blackface. And then they went woke. It's not a chicken or egg thing there. You know what order it came. So I call this BFR. It's blackface reparations. There's nothing in Stern's previous career that could withstand this modern witch hunt that he now embraces. So this is a form of restitution. Maybe he says, you know, if I'm woke too, the crocodile will eat me last. But they always do eat. But I get it. He flipped from populist to elitist because now he's with elitists.
If you're loving this takedown, hit subscribe, because this one cuts deep. Stern's rise was built on raw nerve. He was rebellion incarnate. A voice for the generation that refused to shut up or fit in. Love him or hate him, you couldn't ignore him. He was chaos with a microphone. But that's the danger of being rebel royalty. Stay on the throne too long, and the edge dulls. Stern didn't flip overnight. The change crept in, slowly. Quietly, until the fire dimmed and the roar softened into something polished. Something safe.
We'll say this, Dagan. I thank God for Howard Stern because he does make me feel normal by comparison. Because I'm like the Fox recluse. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. But he makes me look like, you know, Pete Davidson on a...
Yeah, he's a germaphobe. Like, his wife rescues cats. That's her job, apparently, her thing. But you can get toxoplasmosis.
That's true.
Cryptosporidiosis.
AIDS.
And
no, you can't.
No,
but
you can't get. But you can get.
I mean, what are the chances I get that again?
Like a lot of diarrhea related.
From loudmouth outlaw to Hollywood's polished confidant, Howard Stern's evolution became his undoing. The man who once raged against the system now shared wine with it. The live wire who shocked the world had become a carefully curated talk show host. And Gutfeld noticed. That was the crack in the armor. Love him or hate him, Greg Gutfeld thrives on confrontation. He's part jester, part wrecking ball, a master of satire armed with a smirk and a scalpel. His show burns sacred cows for fuel. So when Stern's name landed in his crosshairs, it wasn't random. It was strategy. A throwaway jab turned into a surgical strike. Gutfeld didn't attack the man. He dismantled the myth, mocking the chaos king turned comfort seeker, the rebel who traded the fire for a penthouse view.
On his radio show, Howard Stern defended wokeism, saying it's a compliment when someone calls him woke. Listen.
If woke means I can't get behind Trump, which is what I think it means, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine, well, dude.
This wasn't some off-the-cuff roast. Gutfeld went for the jugular. He didn't treat Stern as a legend. He treated him as a warning. The message was ruthless but clear. The once fearless rebel had become the corporate preacher he used to mock, selling out, softening up, swapping raw rebellion for Hollywood approval. And Gutfeld didn't need to scream. He was calm, surgical, icy, like a hitman of truth slicing through nostalgia. He put the old Stern, the wild, untamed, no-filter anarchist, against the new one, smiling beside the very stars he used to roast. The contrast was haunting. The rebel had joined the gala. The man who mocked phoniness now wore it like a suit. Gutfeld didn't exaggerate. He exposed. And the irony struck like a freight train. The king of shock now running PR for the red carpet.
Stern being holed up in his house that long, it explains a lot of things, like how you forget how other people live, especially in hard times like a pandemic. For the longest time, 2 years in fact, the same time Stern's been AWOL, I wondered where he went. Not physically, but mentally. I bet you did too. Remember his screeds about COVID? They were epic and angry, and not to mention wrong.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom.
The man who once wore rebellion like a crown now seemed obsessed with one thing: approval. From Hollywood, from corporate media, from the same mainstream he once ridiculed. That's why Gutfeld's punch hit deeper than satire. It was a generational slap. One rebel calling out another for losing his soul. The blow wasn't personal, it was philosophical. And this time, Stern had no roar left. No fire, no fury. Just silence. That silence became the headline. Gutfeld didn't have to declare victory. Stern's quiet did it for him. Fans saw the unthinkable. The loudest voice in radio history suddenly muted. And in that silence, Gutfeld's words thundered even louder. The rebel had become the relic.
When I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Oh my God.
There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now. I mean, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that Stern, but this pendulum swing from saying the most tasteless thing in the universe to putting your balls in a Tic Tac container. You got to wonder what's going on here. It's striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate.
Back in the day, Stern's rebellion came with real scars. FCC fines, bans, sponsors fleeing in panic. But he thrived on that chaos. It made him untouchable. Gutfeld, though, came from a different war zone. The digital battlefield of cancel culture, outrage mobs, and viral takedowns. He didn't need shock value. He used sarcasm as a weapon and irony as armor. This wasn't two celebrities trading insults. It was two generations of rebellion colliding head-on. Gutfeld was the new breed. Fast, viral, merciless. A meme-born disruptor exposing hypocrisy in real time. The audience didn't just watch, they judged. And the verdict cut deep. Because Gutfeld didn't mock Stern's past, he respected it. That respect made the hit land even harder.
Happy Friday, America! Oh man, tonight is a special night. It's Feminine Friday, where all the panelists are women. Tonight we have Kennedy, David McDowell, him. And Janine Garofalo.
Truth
A
about
long way
cats
for a
and
meat
dogs.
joke. Okay, I hope you had a good week. I did, and no thanks to Howard Stern. True, they reported that Stern hit a chic restaurant in NYC with a crew of A-listers, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, John Hamm, Justin Theroux, Jason Bateman. I was not invited. I guess.
Gutfeld made his point crystal clear. The old Stern would have eviscerated this new version on sight. But now, in designer hoodies and Hollywood interviews, the man looks comfortable, almost unrecognizable. The original Stern thrived on confrontation. The new one hosts charity galas. To Gutfeld, the Chaos King had become a quiet monk, styled, tamed, and strangely content inside the empire he once set ablaze. And once that image caught fire online, there was no putting it out. Social media exploded. Clips, comments, memes, disbelief. Gutfeld hadn't just thrown shade. He said what Stern's own fans had been whispering for years. And suddenly, one haunting question echoed everywhere. Can a rebel ever stay a rebel forever?
Even more pathetic, wondering how she doesn't nap.
When you said you don't nap, I get it, because like what you've taken on is extraordinarily difficult. And I mean, do you feel the pressure of the moment in the sense that, like when I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country.
Hold on. I need a minute.
Is rebellion doomed to die once it's crowned? Do all firebrands eventually join the system they swore to burn, or worse, defend it? Gutfeld didn't just accuse Stern of changing. He exposed the motive. This wasn't evolution, it was self-preservation. The fearless provocateur had become the careful diplomat, terrified to offend. The voice that once tore into hypocrisy now begged for its approval. To Gutfeld, that wasn't growth, it was surrender. And Stern's silence made it sting even more. The comeback king, suddenly without words. No fight, no spark, just emptiness. Fans felt it in their gut. The rebel wasn't silenced by censorship, but by comfort.
This definition of woke, it's if you call someone a know-it-all, you're not complimenting them on the breadth of their knowledge. You're saying you don't know as much as you think you know. So, yeah, woke doesn't have anything to do with vaccines. What it really means is sort of a slavish devotion to left-wing ideology and then repeating it so you can get social credit.
Right.
That's really what it means.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're smarter than anybody. And he had said in another part of this that, because I believe in the science, well, if you believed in the science, you wouldn't be hiding out like Howard Hughes in your mansion.
The loyal fans who once worshipped Stern's defiance now asked, where did that fire go? It wasn't just that he didn't fight back, it felt like he couldn't. Gutfeld landed the punch and Stern didn't even flinch. Not out of strength, but out of confusion. In a world where every reaction trends, that silence hit like a confession. Gutfeld didn't gloat. He didn't need to. The internet did it for him. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. The crowd crowned him the new rebel king. Because this wasn't just another media spat. It was a reckoning. Stern, the man who built his legend exposing phoniness, was now forced to confront the mirror. And his own reflection didn't blink back.
I always hate that argument, like, what happened to the old Stern, or what people have changed. That's not what this is about. It's a weird disconnect.
Well, he hasn't changed.
No.
People have been calling him insane for 40 years.
Yeah,
that just used to be, this guy's nuts. And now they're like, oh, we're worried about Howard. He needs help. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, though, I'm a little sympathetic because what you said is correct, but I'm also a germaphobe.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just have a smaller apartment. Yeah. So it's like
Fallout was more than personal. It was symbolic. Gutfeld's rise felt like a mirror reflecting media's slow decay. His fire was the same one Stern once carried, but somehow dropped along the way. Unfiltered humor, fearless defiance, zero tolerance for corporate fakery. That was once Stern's throne. Now Gutfeld sat in it. While mainstream networks tiptoe through censorship and fear, Gutfeld charges through the flames. He gives audiences what they crave. Authenticity, or at least the illusion of it. Meanwhile, Stern sits quiet, clutching a legacy that no longer fits. This wasn't a feud. It was a torch being ripped from one hand to another. The rebel of yesterday meeting the rebellion of now.
Striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate. But maybe that's the explanation. This is Stern's self-imposed penance for subjugating women to demoralizing stunts, capitalizing on desperate females thirsting for attention, even if it's from an oily paddle striking their bare ass.
Or not, in media, perception is reality. And the burning question now, what comes next? Does Howard Stern dig deep, rediscover that unapologetic fire, and silence the critics who call him a ghost of his former self? Or does he keep coasting, polished and praised, but hollowed of the chaos that made him iconic? As for Greg Gutfeld, he's proven he's not afraid to punch up, not afraid to challenge giants. Is he the new voice of rebellion, raw, unfiltered, and fearless in a world starved for realness? One thing's for sure, the torch that night wasn't handed down. It was snatched. The clash wasn't just television, it was transformation. A cultural earthquake, a generational shift. Because when the king faces the jester, only one walks away with the crown. And this time, hunger won.